Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we do have another new ASIC. This is going to be a Scrypt ASIC, so think Doge and LTC merge mining. This is the Elphapex DG1. We do have the full specs, we have the price. I'm going to compare it to the competition and see if this thing makes sense, right? So if that sounds good guys, stay tuned. Let's get to this thing. So first, before we get started, shout out to T-Swift. He's the one I got the information from. He is currently one of the few vendors that does have it for sale. He did break the news. It is available now. We'll talk about the price and specs here in a second. Let's talk about Scrypt in general here first. We're going to look at Litecoin, right? So the big thing with Scrypt ASICs is the fact that you are able to merge mine Litecoin and DogeCoin, right? So Litecoin, both of these coins right now are doing very well. A lot of it has to do with just the general market, right? BTC is doing extremely well even prior to the halving, so everything else is following along with it, right? So as we look at LTC, it is currently ranked number 20 by market cap, right? So it is a big coin. It's currently about 26% up on the month, right? So currently doing very good, doing solid. Now, the real reason, before going to Scrypt, is because of freaking Doge, right? People love their freaking meme coins and they love their Dogecoin, right? So this thing currently on the 1 month chart, the 30-day, it's up 121%. And this thing is ranked number 9 by market cap, right? So huge upside, a lot of good benefits here. One of the biggest features with Scrypt ASICs and why it's so popular is the merge mining aspect, and specifically the coins that it merge mines. It's pretty cool that you're able to get two coins kind of on almost like the different ends of the spectrum, right? Litecoin being something more reliable, more stable. It's been around, it's been reliable, cheap transactions. It's going to be here to stay, right? And this is another one that also, if in the future, sometime the bull market, we do get any kind of regulation FUD again, it is one that is most likely going to be considered a commodity, right? So there's less risk in that sense if the case that becomes a thing sometime in the bull market, which don't be surprised if it does. But there's a lot of big money behind this, a lot of big whales that are going to keep this thing propped up, right? One good example is Grayscale, right? They do have their Litecoin trust. They have a lot of money here. It is in there. It is invested. It's going to be here to stay, right? The other Bitcoin is Doge, right? And again, it's just when retail comes in, they love this freaking coin. The exchanges love this coin. That's why it's like on Robinhood, crypto.com, like it's huge, right? So this is another one that's here to stay. So you kind of get, you know, the reliability and kind of like more support with Litecoin, and then you get the memeability with Dogecoin, right? So it's pretty cool that you're able to get the best of both worlds. Some people just stick with one or the other. Depending on the pool, you do have those kinds of options, but very cool. It's one of the only ASICs that's able to do that, right? And then it's awesome that you're able to do it with these two coins, right? So you kind of, again, you're getting like the best of both worlds here, right? So that's a big part of the reason that like Scrypt ASICs specifically have always been so extremely popular, right? So let's get into this guy. This is the DG1. Again, shout out to T-Swift for giving us the info on this guy. So go over the specs. 11 gigahash. They have it listed as 11,000 megahash at 3,420 watts. Pretty freaking good. At this point, just eyeballing it, we do have a new Hashrate king for Scrypt ASICs, right? At least in stock form, right? So as we look at the profitability for this guy, again, because of this recent pump, things are looking pretty freaking good. They have it listed as bringing in about $26 in revenue a day. And then after taking out your electric, your profit would be about $18. This is at a 10-cent kilowatt hour. Okay. So things are pretty looking pretty good there. Price wise, this guy's coming in at 6,500, which is a little bit on the high side considering, yes, it's better than the L7. So let's compare it to the L7 now. So again, this guy's 11 gigahash. The L7 has a crap ton of variants, but the main guy being the 9.5 gigahash, right? So there is an advantage there, and they're about the same wattage, right? So this guy's 9.5 gigahash for 3,425 watts versus the Elphapex being 11 gigahash for 3,420. So there is an efficiency increase of about 15%, right? So it is at least better. The big glaring thing though, this is a brand new ASIC. The L7 has been around for about 2.5 years now, Okay, it is very, very likely due for a refresh. Okay, so that's definitely one of those things you want to keep in mind. And then considering the price point, let's look up prices for this guy. In my opinion, it's not enough of it's not a discount at all, actually. It's priced kind of in line with it, right? And to me, it would not be anywhere near on par with the L7 in terms of reliability, robustness. Again, this guy's been out for almost 3 years. It's been proving its thing. Parts availability, repairability, a lot of advantages, right? Realistically, for this guy to be more appealing, they should have undercut them, right? Then at that point, it's like, oh, well, I'm getting a little bit more hash rate. I am kind of taking the risk on this unknown miner. But just comparing apples to apples, the L7 all day, right? Now, that doesn't mean that, oh, okay, it's going to be trash, forget about it. We have to see what happens in the future, right? This is one of those things that if you're considering buying a Scrypt ASIC right now, the time was a while back, but realistically, it's hard to say because it's just so likely that there's going to be an L9 here sometime in the horizon, right? Is it going to be in the next 3 months? Maybe. Will it be a year later once we're in full swing of the freaking bull market and they can sell it for 30, 40K? Maybe also, right? Again, in reality, we do not know. I was 100% convinced we would get one before the end of last year. And here we are, right? So realistically for Bitmain, like we mentioned with all the others, it just makes more sense for them to wait until they really, really have a reason to. In my opinion, with this guy, not enough of a reason to. Yes, the specs are higher, but again, for 15% efficiency and for it being essentially priced the same, right? It's priced like price per hash. It's very equivalent. It's more expensive. I would definitely 100% go with the L7 all day. My personal opinion, I would kind of stay away only because, again, just the likelihood of a new Scrypt ASIC coming out is extremely, extremely high, right? It's not guaranteed. May not happen. Who knows? But again, if I were interested, I would have purchased an L7 back when they were available under 4K for months and months and months, right? It's one of those things where I know a lot of people are getting more interest now because they're seeing the profitability go up, but it's like, bros, if you guys saw the potential in that coin, you saw the potential in that ASIC, you should have been purchasing this thing last year when, number one, the yields were better because the difficulty was lower and the prices were a lot better, right? So it's not to say that, oh, it's too late. It's totally dependent on you and what you think is going to happen. But to me, an ASIC that's been around for 2.5 years from Bitmain, pretty likely that something else is going to come out, right? So this is probably going to be the first of many. Again, this is the Elphapex DG one. But again, like we saw last bull market, we had all these variations of these other manufacturers releasing essentially the same miner, kind of in a different shell, right? I never really got to see the internals of these, so can't really confirm, but there was like the Hammer D10 Plus, the Blue Star L1, the Black Miner L1, all pretty much the same specs. They were all like 5 gigahash at 3,500 watts, right? So in that sense, it is a generation above these guys, right? So if it is the same manufacturer, it's coming from the same factory, it is at least an increase from this. So even though this guy isn't appealing now, because again, the L7 is readily available, and the thing is, if the L9 comes out in 3 months, and we continue this trend anyway, how much do you think the freaking L9 is going to cost, right? This is another factor you really have to consider if you're into any of these, right? So I know it's kind of sounding doom and gloom on either this guy or the L7, but in reality, look at how fast the prices went up, right? What do you think is going to happen to the price of these ASICs if we continue this way? If BTC does start going up well beyond, the halving comes and then we start actually going up, we don't have that dip. Okay, you have to kind of think about these things and kind of get that mindset going. Because yes, there is that potential for the L9, but again, if we stay on this trajectory and things go the same, reality, how much do you think that thing is going to be, right? So that is something you really, really have to consider, that even though it seems crazy expensive, it may not be as bad as it may seem by that time, right? Another thing to factor in, that yes, this is the hash rate king. Again, with the L7, it's been around. There is aftermarket firmware for it, right? You can go to Hivon, and they do have overclocks and underclocks for this thing, right? So Bitmain did give us a low power mode this past year, but again, it's fairly limited. It's just low power, regular power. Hivon does have firmware for this, right? Ranging all the way through here, all the way from 6 gigahash all the way to 11 gigahash, right? Varying efficiencies there, but it is another option, right? So something to consider there. Again, more benefit for the L7, right? So for me, it would be a super hard sell to go to this guy because, again, it's extremely similar, but unknown brand. Parts probably going to be a mess. Who knows if this guy stays around. Too many unknowns for it being the same price or like at a slight premium in reality, right? Definitely L7 all day. And factor in that we do potentially have this Hashrate coming out fairly soon, right? So at this point we are March. It looks like potentially a June, sometime maybe mid to late summer release. We don't know. Hopefully we'll get an update at Mining Disrupt. I know Logotech is supposed to be down there at that time. Hopefully maybe we can see a unit, right? Maybe a functioning unit by that time. Maybe we'll get hopefully more info. Like maybe it's not done by then, but hopefully we'll have much more info regarding a better timeline for it, right? So another thing to keep in mind, because again, this guy is crazy efficient. And like even like if an L9 or anything else comes out, freaking 2 gigahash at 145 watts, I don't see Bitmain touching this thing anywhere near, right? And again, this thing is $1,800 or 2K, right? And you are paying a premium for that efficiency, but again, it is extreme efficiency, right? My play, what I would say almost, depending on what happens in the next few months, is especially if you do have an L7, a way to increase that efficiency to like kind of counteract like a L9, or if any other manufacturer comes out with something, add a couple of these things to it, right? You would boost your efficiency so much by doing so, right? Because I guarantee almost to the point where having an L7, potentially 2 or 3 of these things, you're going to probably end up, if you were to add it all up, have the similar type of efficiency to whatever the next gen Scrypt miner ASIC is, right? Again, this thing is just likely to be so far ahead of whatever Bitmain does, right? In reality, we don't know. We have to wait and see. Again, we maybe another freaking year before Bitmain does something. Who knows? But for me, like this guy, this Elphapex, would not be a reason for them to do anything about it. They could just let it sit, let it do its thing, because I don't think it's going to do well. This guy, if it does come to fruition, it does come to market this summer, this would be the game changer. This would cause them to do something. That's why a lot of people are speculating for something around that time. Maybe an announcement. Maybe they'll kind of predate them a little bit and announce something for a potential fall release, right? Because by fall time, we'll be probably in high gear with that bull market. And guess what? They'll be able to sell that thing for 20, 25, 30K plus, right? So keep that in mind, right? So there are a lot of factors here. And again, as we look at the price of the freaking L7, which did go up, right? Just last month, it was around 4,500. Now, even the smaller guy, the 88, is $5,600 from Nhash. The 95 being at 6,500, right? So again, as these prices of these coins go up, the prices of these units are going to go up. Right, so at this point now, it's like, oof, a little rough, bros, a little rough, but it's up to you, right? Just know that these prices, this market is doing stuff that it's never done before, right? Everything is happening extremely early. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys that have been sitting on the sidelines are starting to see it pretty quick, right? So again, if you're interested in these things, not saying the time is now, but I mean, factor in, right? Just look at these things. Consider this guy, again, has been around for 2.5 years. It's just a hard choice, right? You have to come up with that game plan. You have to see what makes more sense to you and what you value more in these ASICs, right? Like a big part of my strategy was getting the latest and greatest right at release. That way, just not necessarily guaranteeing, but just increasing the likelihood that I'll be able to mine on that guy for like a year, year and a half, potentially maybe even 2 years without a whole lot of competition, right? Especially now leading into the bull market. Because again, anything we have now, like you can look at any of their prices they have now and then compare it to what it's going to be a year from now, right? So you may want to start closing out your selections here or start narrowing it down or setting price points, because again, everything has been going up. Like another example here that stands out are the freaking E9 Pros. Okay, they jumped up pretty much overnight to like 3,500 to 4,000. Again, big chunk of the summer last year, they were available under 2K all day, right? These prices are going up, guys. It's just gonna happen quickly. There are still some good deals, but again, these coins can pump in an instant and the prices will go up in an instant, right? Another good example are like these K7s and the K3s where the prices of the coins skyrocketed, so the prices skyrocketed, right? So just, if you're still thinking about getting in the game, you're kind of in the fence, just factor these things in, right? Don't FOMO into them. Do your research, look at it, see what you value. Are you willing to degen into it? Because this is kind of a weird time right now. I know a lot of people were so anti-ASIC for so long. And now, like, going into, like I was in one of RPM's chats a while ago, like, watching his videos and kind of seeing the sentiment kind of shift more towards being pro-ASIC. But it's like, I don't know, bros, you guys, we're getting into that greed territory. I don't know. Just be careful. Don't be that guy who gets wrecked, right? FOMOing into something like those freaking Cadena miners. Just remember that possibility's there, right? So you want to do your research. You want to think about it. You want to consider the risk, because it's not just, again, it's not just go on, mine the ASIC or what to mine and look at the profitability and that's what it's going to be, right? You have to look at that individual ASIC, that individual coin, see what the emissions are like, see what the likelihood of the hash rate and difficulty going up, like how small is that network? Like right now, for example, another good example is those K7s and K3s. CKB and Cadena, the hash rate is freaking skyrocketing. Right? So you gotta weigh those things in. Like a lot of people FOMO'd into them and they're like, yo, the price has gone up, but the profitability is going down. What's going on? And you have to understand that metric, that comparison with it, that as the hash rate difficulty goes up, your yield is gonna go down, right? And if the price doesn't match up at that same rate, there's gonna be a discrepancy, right? And it's like, again, the best example is like the KE3. We had mentioned in the other video that even if the price of the coin goes up beyond what it did in December, which it has, it's currently like at $1.75, your profitability is probably going to be lower because of the amount of machines that people are going to come out because of that. And that's what happened. Like right now it's currently at $1.75, which is a good chunk higher than what it was in December, but yet the profitability is like half of what it was then, right? Just because, again, the yield has dropped so much, right? So you have to look at all those factors, and specifically for that coin, for the algo, are you able to mine other coins with that algo? Like there's a lot of variations, a lot of things you really got to consider about, guys. Like really, really think about it and get people's opinions on it, right? Do your research, look at all the things, and just understand though, man, ASICs are super cutthroat. Super, super cutthroat. You can get wrecked anytime, any minute by anything, right? It could be Bitmain themselves, it could be another manufacturer, a lot of things, right? It's a dangerous, dangerous game. If you want to play, you got to be aware of the risks, right? Because you got to risk it for the biscuit if it's something you're into, right? So just some stuff to consider, guys. Just keep in mind, we're going to continue to see these things. Like I really wasn't expecting to see a lot of these, like Chinese manufacturers really start pumping these things out until we were like in full swing, but apparently they're convinced also that we're in full swing, and that's why we're seeing them now. Right, so don't be surprised for this thing to be a continual thing. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where the market goes, right? We're kind of newfound territory. But let me know, guys, in the comments. What are you guys doing? Did any of you guys pick up an L7 this past year? Are you guys still on the fence? Are you thinking about one? Is the L9 potential like holding you back? Let me know. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you guys are doing. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. And I am out.